Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer your monthly energy reading for the elemental energy of water. Water covers the zodiac signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So if you are Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, or have water high up in your chart, then this message is for you. If you've never had your charts read, there is a link in the description for a natal chart through Llewellyn. It's just a base chart with the 12 houses and all the little signs and symbols, and then there's 10 to 20 pages of a description of what all that means. And it's not sponsored or anything like that, so you can check that out. There's also some affiliate linked cards and books that I'm using today. You can check those out if you're interested. It does help support the channel. But we'll get started with your reading. I cast the hexagram before the video. And water, you have hexagram 17, and it is called Following and According With. Text says, following sublime success, righteous persistence brings reward, no error. So even if you're not the leader of the situation this month, water, it doesn't mean that you're not going to end up with a success. And sublime success means an easy, quiet success where you know you've succeeded in something, you've achieved it, but it doesn't have to be loud. And this righteous persistence brings reward. This goes back to that code of conduct, your personal morals, ethics, and standards that you hold for yourself. Working within those, there's going to be no errors this month. Usually, as a rule, you don't want to go against those anyway, but the message for this one is really focus on sticking true to those, because if you do, things are going to work out better. So our foundation line, down here on the bottom, those in power undergo a change. Righteous determination brings good fortune. Going forth from home and mingling with those outside will produce tangible results. So even if you're someone who likes to be a little more of a hermit, there's actually going to be some benefit to being a bit more social this month. And that doesn't mean you have to go out every night, but if you have that invitation to a barbecue, it's all right to go to that. Or if you have this event going on in the town that you're at and you want to go to it, this is a good time to do that. I'm getting this energy that socialization is going to be really healthy for water this month. And with that foundation line saying, as a foundation base idea for the month, it's okay to go out and do things. Your second place line, he belongs to or puts himself at the service of the boy and therefore loses the adult. So you don't want to be in service to someone who is immature, is what they're talking about. You want to make sure that you are sticking to the right path. You're looking at things from a more mature standpoint. You can have the innocence of a child and how you act, but you don't want to be subject to that. So make sure you're following the right course for the right reasons. Our third place line, where we go. He belongs to or is service to the adult and loses the boy. By following the former, he gains what is desired. So you're wanting to stick with that, being more mature, following the adult, following the more mature path, because the more immature path is not going to be a benefit. By following the former, i.e. the adult, he gains what he desires. It is advisable to make no move but remain determined. So pick your path, then don't force anything. If it's an easy flow, water, you're good at this, go with the flow. But if there's this urge that you have to shift, change, or push, just hold up. Things are going to happen. You don't have to be active in it. Your fourth place line, following someone with an ulterior motive, persisting in this course would bring misfortune. But if as he goes his way he makes sincerity his beacon, what harm can come to him? If you know the person that you're working with, like say it's a manager or a superior of some form, and you know that they're doing something that is shady, they have an ulterior motive, they're not doing this for the best interests of, well, you, the business, the household, whatever, you don't really want to follow them, because that's not going to be a good thing. That's an obvious one, but sometimes we have to say the obvious so that we actually know what we're doing. But the other part is, if you go your way and make sincerity your beacon, the righteous path, the code of ethics, conducts, and morals, if you're following that, you're going to end up in the right spot. No harm can come to you. But you don't want to follow the person who's like, well, we're going to do this, and we're just going to do a little shady. Don't do that. Not good things. Our fifth place line, Confidence is admirable good fortune. And confidence is basically saying knowing what you know, knowing what you don't know, and being able to act upon it accordingly. So if you are in a situation where you're the leader of something and you're confident in the fact, this is what I know, but this is also what I don't know, it allows you to actually gain that knowledge versus saying, I know it all, because that gets into arrogance. Not a good sign. But confidence is admirable, and that's what people are going to want to follow. Our capstone here, our top line. He obtained people's allegiance, and his followers clung to him. During the time he spent on the western mountain, the king made a sacrifice. So he obtained allegiance, and followers cling to him. When you're confident, when you're following that moral, ethical path, people are drawn to that because they see that there's no deceit in you. There's no lies or cheating, and so they want to come near that. They want to be close to that. And when it says during the time spent on the western mountains the king made the sacrifice, even when the person who's above you, your superior, however you want to look at that, is away, they're still doing things to support you. When they make the sacrifice, it's to send the blessing back home. And the west also could be indication of water, your element, but it's also in some cases the direction of the afterlife and the undead. So you're making a sacrifice that pleases those who've went before. So you have a lot of different ways to interpret that aspect, but it basically boils down to when you do the right thing, it's going to work out better for you in the long run this month, especially because Source is really paying attention to following that righteous path. And I'm not using that in a religious connotation. It's the moral and ethical values system that is being discussed. But you also have those on the other side who are observing and sending their energy to bless you as well. So with that, we'll hop into our cards. I like to read week by week. There's 4.5 weeks in June, so we'll do a 5-week set, give you a bonus week there at the end. Each week we look at a guide or guardian, a message from Source, and then a little more clarity from the tarot. And as I read intuitively, if you see something different or sense something different in the cards, feel free to comment that down below if you're comfortable with that, because it's always interesting to hear what other people have to say, and you might actually say something that someone else needs to hear as well. And while you're down there, hit that like button, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And with that, we'll get started with your first week's message from your guides or guardians, and that is divine timing. These are angels that come in to help show you the appropriate time to act and move forward. Just like with the I-ching, when you're following the specific righteous path, things fall into place when they're supposed to. And it even talks about in the I-ching where there's times where if it's go with the flow, go with it. If there's a blockage, don't push. That's that divine timing. Knowing how to maneuver and navigate through this first week especially is going to be very important through the month. And that's why the angels are coming in to say, let's get on the same page and let's get things moving in the right direction with the proper guidance. It's not saying you can't do things your way, but it's saying there might be some other tweaks we can make along the path. Your message from Source is the 7 deadly sins, and it's humanity's destructive patterns. So when we look at the 7 deadly sins, these are warnings. These are the things that will lead you to not a great life. And with this card, it's really saying when you're in divine timing, the deadly sins of like pride, of lust, of arrogance, arrogance is pride, but you get into those kind of things, or gluttony, where you have to have everything. That's not healthy. And this month is really about getting more in tune with the righteous path, that path of the goals, the morals, the ethics, the patterns that serve you best and align with heaven's will. So when you're working in that sense, it's saying these are the things to be aware of, because these are going to be trips and pitfalls. It's not saying that you can't have fun through the month. It's just saying, just watch out for these things. So, interesting. Your message from the tarot is number 16. It's the Tower, which is creative destruction is how I read the Tower. It does not mean it's going to be easy. It means something has to be removed, taken down, or disassembled to throw out the dross and keep that which is valuable. And then you can build something better. And that's divine timing and 7 deadly sins. This first week, Water, is really about getting some things cleared up. clearing out the stuff that does not serve you. If there's a habit, a pattern, if there is, I don't know, maybe clean your fridge if there's some food in there that you probably shouldn't have, like way too many cupcakes or something, and it's not saying you can't have some. It just means there's some excess that is going on this month that needs to be addressed and fixed. And this tower could also be a mindset. Like, you have those mindsets where, I can't believe I did that, I'm just fill in the blank wrong. Maybe it's time to clear that up. Take out the part being like, okay, this is a mistake, but how can I fix it? And so you start changing that, and you're using that tower moment to, sorry, my phone went off, to fix things and move forward with them. So this first week is really about learning the flow of life, getting clear on what it is that maybe needs to be cleaned up and removed, and then actually going through the steps to start the process of removing it. So it's going to be a busy first week for our water family. Our second week, the angels of transformation come through. And the angels of transformation, once you've cleaned things up and you're kind of in that, okay, now what stage? The second week is where we start to fix, change, and excel. This is where you start to notice where you're following the adult or the child, as the I-ching says, because the adult is going to lead you to transformation and growth, whereas the child is going to lead you into the 7 deadly sins. Not intentionally, that's just how things work. And so when you're looking at this in the second week, what did you clear out in the first? What did you rearrange, or what did you pinpoint that needs to be worked on? Now in the second week, how are you going to change that into something positive? How are you going to align with the source of creation and move into that higher state? You have the message from source of good fortune and inviting the magic in. This is saying, once you have figured out that first week, the second week, you have source on your side. The will of heaven is shining upon you, i.e. rainbow. Oops, rainbow. Where am I at? There we go. And that is a benefit. So you're in the process of growth and change. And when you invite the magic in, when you invite the change for the better into your life, things are going to happen usually pretty quickly. And even if they're not quickly, it's going to be in ways where you're like, oh, that's what that was all about. Because when you invite or ask for the presence of the divine to help you grow, shift, and change, it shows up in ways where you may not have expected it. And most of the time, not always, but most of the time, you have that little glimmer where you're like, I know what that is. So it's a really positive experience, and that's what's coming in the second week. Your message from the tarot is the 3 of wands, and with wands we have fire energy. So this is your opposite. This is not going to be one of the easy lessons for you, but the 3 of wands is almost like you're yearning for something. You're expecting something to be a certain way. It doesn't mean it's wrong, but maybe the path that particular product or item or person is on may not be the best for you. So the 3 of wands is saying, don't get wrapped up in this need for a certain experience or this longing for this right person. You have this gift of transformation coming in the second week and seeking out the highest frequency. And sometimes you have to let things that are of a lesser nature go. And sometimes that hurts. That's where that longing for, but I wanted that position, or I wanted that person, and now you're seeing that maybe that's not the best option. So there may be a little bit of a mourning period there, and it's totally all right. You're allowed, obviously, to do that. Just know that is the universe saying, yeah, that would be okay, but if you actually look at the bigger picture, that person might be someone who cheats. That position might actually cause a lot more stress and drama than it's worth. Or whatever might be going on there, the universe is seeing what your soul is looking for, and so our conscious minds might be like, but I wants it, and your soul's like, please don't. So our third week, I think it's going to be a month of clearing for water, is clear, cancel, and release. As you're transforming, you are bringing things into a higher state. You are clearing out the old, you're canceling former agreements, you're canceling the things that don't serve, and you're releasing that energy to Gaia, to God's source, to be cleansed and recycled into a better position. And sometimes stuff that's really actually good, it just doesn't align with you, so you're releasing it to someone else. They can have it. You don't need it. And that's where this is a third week is about. You've done the inner work to figure out what's going on. You have done the started the process of transforming, just like the I-ching. You're seeking out the adult, you're seeking out the mature, because you're going to this point of, I want to grow, I want to change, I want to be better. And then you're letting things go that don't serve. And in this third week, you may come to a very distinct line, is what I'm feeling. There may be like I just completely lost the term. They keep showing me like you come up against a wall and there's no door, but all of a sudden you push on it and the door just pops open. So you have a decision that you have to make this third week. And it doesn't mean you're going to be forced into a situation. If you don't make the decision, it's going to delay things a little bit. There's not a negative effect, was what I'm seeing. But it's going to bring you to the message from Source, which is confrontation, picking your battles wisely. And that's where this a decision gate may be coming up, is you may have to confront the things that are uncomfortable. You may have to confront the things that aren't working. And I'm saying this from experience as well as from Source. This is never an easy process. No one likes conflict. I mean, there's some people you'd think they do because of how much they stir it up. But the reality is no one likes this. It is a stressful situation. It is uncomfortable. But sometimes you have to confront the thing that's not right to be able to move beyond the limitation. And you have to pick the battle. Sometimes the battles are easy, and that's fine. But this one, in this third week, I'm feeling water, there's going to be a challenge to a core value or a challenge to your moral or ethical stance. And when that happens, you're going to have to deal with that. And I'm not saying that to be negative, because it's not going to be like a challenge to swords or anything like that. And if it is, that's actually kind of cool. But it's going to be this challenge to your core. And it's something that you may have to step up and say, enough, we're not doing this. That's where you have to cancel it and send it back. And if it's something work-related, be aware that know your policies as far as your company goes, because sometimes that can be your best defense. But other times you may have to just stand on your morals and be like, no, this is not happening. This is not how this is going to work. And so this third week, you do have this energy of you're clearing things out and you're moving stuff, and that may lead to a confrontation, but understand Sources on your side in this. So stay to the righteous path, just like what the I-ching talks about, and you'll have the success that you need. And just like it said in the I-ching, let me grab that. There was something in the third line. Fourth line. Following someone with ulterior motives. So you don't want to follow, and that could be this challenge that's coming in here. There's someone with ulterior motives that's pushing against you, and you have to push back. Your message from the tarot is the Eight of Pentacles. This is where you get into a little bit of arrogance. Pentacles are earth, so it's a familiar energy with you, but you also have this knowledge energy coming in, and it's a creative aspect, which ties into water. So you may have to find a creative way to deal with the situation. It may not be as cut and dried as, square box or square hole, square peg. It may be round hole, square peg, and how do you make this work? But water, you have the ability to create the new. You have the ability to change. The Eight of Pentacles is not about, as far as this vibe that's coming in, it's not a negative. It's saying, when you look at the bigger picture, you see there's more than one way to deal with this. And are you the type of person who's going to go right brain or left brain? And are you going to be able to create something that's going to solve this problem and release that which needs to be released? Because that's what's really being called to do in this third week, is enough is enough type thing, and let it go and cancel it, and then deal with the conflict as it comes up. But pick your battles. You don't have to go to war over everything, but the important things, the things that challenge your ethics and your morals, those are things worth defending. So in the fourth week, we have intuition and download angels coming forward, and these angels are coming in to help you process, help you uplift, because the first week is figuring it out, the second week is starting the process, the third week is really fixing the things that need to be fixed, releasing that which needs to be released, and confronting the things that need to be dealt with. That doesn't mean it's negative, it just means you've been putting things off, and this third week is when it's like, okay, enough's enough. Water, it's time to do the thing. Once you've done that, though, it sometimes can leave you feeling empty or lost, or what direction do I go next? That's where your intuition, which water is native to, is going to come in very powerfully. And the downloads from Source, go out in the sun in this fourth week and allow yourself the gift of no sunscreen or any of that stuff. Go out and just enjoy the sun on your skin. Enjoy the cosmic downloads that can come in from that. Usually moon is the water's air element. This one is really saying get out in the sun this 4th week. The downloads and the intuitive guidance are going to be stronger in the sun than in the moon, because you've dealt with a lot of this stuff. Some of it was subconscious, and therefore the sun is going to help you rest, recover, and heal in its bathing, soothing warmth through the week. So spend some time daily, if you can, outside this 4th week, is what I'm feeling. You have your message from Source is the dove taking a leap of faith. Dove also represents peace and quiet. So you have done, the first 3 weeks are going to be a little intense. There's going to be some work involved. But the 4th week, there's this energy of release. There's this energy of getting in line with your intuition, accepting the downloads from the divine for the healing and the growth that you have occurred. And with the dove coming in with peace and faith, now you know what's your next steps. Now this 4th week is where the clarity comes in from the challenges of the first 3. And they're not really like hard challenges, it's more of just getting clear on things. But this 4th week, Source is saying, be like the dove. Be strong, be at peace, and have the faith to know that when you are ready to take the next steps, the doors are there. You just have to open them. So let's see what the tarot has to add to that. Whoop. I was trying to throw half the deck at me. We have the 6 of Pentacles, again with the Earth energy. The 6 of Pentacles is kind of a little bit frivolous. There's this little bit of, what's the point? It's just all whatever. And so when you look at this week, this 4th week, it's getting more clear, more peaceful, sorting things out. But it doesn't say be neglectful and don't be frivolous with your time. Yes, you've been through some stuff and you're being called to have the peace and work with the faith, but that doesn't mean you have to just throw it all away and not do anything. It's saying do the things that are important, but if it's not, don't cry over spilled milk, or in this case, a spilled vase of water, and don't get so wrapped up that you're just going to be like, what's the point? I don't need to do this. Well, yeah, you do, but you don't have to be upset about it either. And I'm just feeling this 4th week is like, take the rest, but it doesn't mean to be completely frivolous with your time either. So let's see what your bonus 5th week is. And that particular card, the 6 of Pentacles, is always an interesting one, because it comes through and it's like either going to be super negative or it's going to be more of a sarcastic best friend where you're never sure if it's serious or not. Your message from your guides and guardians for the 5th week, your bonus week, is joy and contentment. By the end of the month, you're going to have this peace that comes forward, and the peace that goes into this joy and contentment. It's not the giggly, happy, oh my goodness. It's the joy of existing. It's the joy of being connected to God's source. It's the joy of achieving success, finishing a project, and it's that contentment of knowing now that you have the skills and you've proven to yourself you can do it, which allows you to move forward and do it again. So this 5th week is really about embracing how far you've come, water. And it's been 1 month, and it doesn't matter if it's you stopped, let's say you stopped smoking or you stopped drinking or something. It may seem little, but it's not, and there is a success there to be celebrated. And that comes into your message from Source with vacation. Take time for relaxation and adventure. When you are in this state of peace, of joy, and contentment, life becomes to feel like a vacation. You don't have to stress about it because you know Source is going to carry you. Just like the magic carpet here, you're flowing along with the journey of life, and you know that as you go along, you're going to have the experiences that are going to uplift you. There may be challenges, that's part of life, but you also know that you have the ability to deal with it and go forward, which takes life from being a drudgery and misery and I have to go to work today and all that stuff, into this state of joy and peace, being enlivened by the mystery of the now, which makes life feel like a vacation because it's not as stressful anymore. So by the end of the month, you may have some new tools to work with. Your message from the tarot is the 6 of Chalices. Chalices are water, so this is your energy. And it's saying you're not in this by yourself. You're being observed by higher forces, but they're also here to help you. It's not about going it alone. And that's one of the messages that comes in with joy and contentment as well, is you're not by yourself in all of this. Water, you have the support you need. You just sometimes have to ask for it. Source will never impose you against your free will. And the 6 of Chalices is reminding you, Yes, things may not be the way they want, and it may feel like you're being stared at. And in a way you are, but it's because they're waiting to help. They're waiting to respond. They, as in your guides, your guardians, your angels, and God's source. And so sometimes it's that reminder that we need to reach out. We have unlimited resources available to us, but it's that remembering that and asking for it that's sometimes the challenge. And water, this month is going to be a little bit of a change, a little bit of a challenge, but sticking to your core values and the ethics and the morals, that righteous path, is going to lead to great success. And success is measured by your personal read, not by someone else's. So don't compare. Comparison will not be good this month. Do the things that you need to do. Follow the people who inspire you, the adults, not the children. And when you follow that, you'll see how things play out the best, and you'll also feel deep down inside how you have grown and expanded from that point. So with that, I will let you all go. Have a great rest of your month. I will see you in the next video. But yeah, go out there and really live life with that moral and code of ethics, and the energy that keeps coming forward is this vacation. Create the life that makes vacation feel every day, because that's really what you're shooting for, water, and that's where the energy is coming in for you the strongest.